today we're going to talk about the myth of the hip bump.
Right. So I think a lot of golfers think of hip bump. They think go to the top of the swing and then just throw the hips forward. That's going to somehow help shallow it and all that. And yeah, it can help shallow it, but you're giving up a lot of other really cool stuff that should be happening in golf swing to make that happen.
Yeah, you're doing something that's causing 3 other things to happen that are bad.
Right.
And I know this can be overdone because when I was younger, I'd get the new Golf Digest every month, and that was my teacher, right?
Right,
I didn't
sure.
have a golf teacher when I was a kid, so I had to figure it out on my own. I remember distinctly reading an article that said from the top of the swing, the first move should be to slide your hips, laterally toward the target, and that was the only thing you did. Leave everything else where it is, and then swing. And I had the biggest hip slide, tilt back, snap hooks you've ever seen.
When I work with guys who do that, and I used to do that so bad. So it would be kind of the reverse case setup, right? Mm-hmm. With the idea of, we see good golfers all the time at impact
reverse
have some tilt, right? Which is every golfer should. They think, well, okay, I'm going to put some of that in at address.
Yeah.
Add more of it up here, and then I should be good to go at impact. And it doesn't really work that way.
No, it doesn't. And it's a novel thought. Just kind of set up where you want to be and stay there. It just doesn't work like that in the best players in the world.
That's right. So instead of doing a hip bump, well, let's look at 2 ways to get pressure and mass forward. So we've got our Sheffick board here, and Sean, let's do the kind of the big myth of the hip bumps. Let's throw those hips forward.
Top of the backswing, this would be the hip bump. So I've got the bottom of the board down in the right spot early enough, but to do so, I've slammed the hip into the socket, and it's made me tilt back, and I really have 0 rotation here at this point.
Now let's do it the preferable way.
From the top, I'm going to feel like I'm going more downhill with my body.
Right.
Instead of, I feel uphill with my body here.
Yes. And that's one of the things we love so much about this Sheffick board. It actually puts you in a downhill spot. You can really feel it's the whole body kind of drifts, surfs forward. Now you're done moving forward laterally, and you just, boom, rotate. So let's kind of give ourselves some space here and bring in our pro, and we're going to see how our PGA winner here does it. And you can see as he goes through his backswing, there is sometimes a lateral move away, not a big move, but a lateral move away. And then you're going to see his upper and his lower body both, a lot of times the exact same amount, bump forward, and then he starts to unwind into impact. Then you'll see the upper body start to fall backwards. And that's really the key sequence we're looking for. It's a full body movement forward, both the upper and lower, not just throwing the hips forward, right? We don't see that with good players anymore. And then it's an unwinding and using these ground forces to kind of tilt the body as it comes down into impact. And that's really what we're after. Golf has turned into a really powerful, really distance-oriented game. And the best players in the world, they adapt and evolve to fit the way the game's played. And
Clubs, balls,
exactly
longer golf courses.
That's exactly right. So we're seeing this day in, day out. If you're not interested in distance, then we suggest you don't do this. If you like distance, like to hit the ball solidly, this is a great way to think of bumping yourself forward, not just slamming the hips forward. That's no good. It's going to hurt your back most likely.
And also, I've seen people with get hip bursitis in the left hip from driving the hip left so hard, it actually affects where the joint is here in the hip.
If you're dynamic and you do that, it can create a lot of issues for you. Again, everybody's different, but it's just a trend that we see in golf instruction. It's a trend we see with the best players in the world, and it's a move that everybody can do.
Absolutely. So